At Starbucks, we offer full and part-time baristas 100% upfront college tuition coverage, which means they can thrive at our company and in class. At Starbucks, benefits like college tuition coverage are just the start.
Acura dares to drive beyond standard. A torque vectoring super handling all-wheel drive system, standard in the Acura RDX. Panoramic moonroof and premium 3-row seating, standard in the Acura MDX. Sound that surrounds you, an 18-speaker Bang & Olufsen premium sound system comes standard in the all-electric ZDX, the Acura RDX, ZDX, and MDX, where precision meets craftsmanship. Visit Acura.com to learn more.
Hi, it's Dave here. This is my wife, Kathy.
Hello.
This is the Cinemile. It's the podcast where we walk home from the movies. Today is the hottest day in Ireland, possibly for the entire year. We're talking 26 degrees down here in Cork. I know the rest of our European listeners are like, what? As you melt in your 42-degree furnaces. But here we are. So perfect day for a cinema trip, I think.
I think so too.
Don't you think so? To escape the sunshine?
I think it might be a quiet screen. However, it is Superman, and Superman does have immense powers and a gravitational pull. I'm excited for this film, are you?
He gets his powers from the sun.
He does.
Actually. I don't know, I have mixed feelings about this film. Number one, I am excited because I like James Gunn and I like his films, I like his sensibilities. I really liked the Suicide Squad, I like the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. I like his old stuff, Slither, really liked. So I'm excited to see what he does with Superman. But Superman in general isn't my cup of tea. I've always been more interested in the more vulnerable superheroes, like a Spider-Man is my guy. Whereas Superman is kind of just boring to me because he's invincible, infallible, and a little dull.
Have you heard of Kryptonite?
Yeah, but it's just like, the Kryptonite thing.
I'm the opposite
However,
to you because I've never been a comic book person. So I grew up on Lois and Clark. And therefore, Superman has a special place in my heart.
You're referring to the 90s TV show with Dean Cain and Terry Hatcher,
exactly.
Right? Yeah.
It was a big show for me. And
I loved that show as well.
And then even I liked when they did the Arrowverse. Remember that? And was it the Arrowverse?
You're jumping all over the map. That's like
I liked that.
That's like
Supergirl
20
stuff.
years later,
I'm
right?
just saying I've liked a lot of Superman stuff in my time, and for someone who was never heard of basically any Marvel stuff until they started making the movies, I would have always been more of a Superman girl.
Okay.
And like you, I like James Gunn's films, and I really like Suicide Squad. And then Man of Steel I intensely disliked. So I'm kind of pumped for this, and maybe explain a bit of the background on the Superman change of ownership and the change of DC ownership for those who may not know.
Okay, so for anyone who doesn't know, it's been a difficult sort of 10-15 years for DC as a brand and for Warner Brothers as a parent company. So naturally they were sort of following in the heels of the success of the MCU, and so DC tried to capitalize on that with the Justice League, their own version, the original version of a sort of superhero team up. Sort of very troubled production. Famously, Zack Snyder filmed the movie and then had a tragedy in his family, sadly, and stepped away. And there was a lot of behind the scenes stuff going on.
But you're skipping Man of Steel, though.
Yeah, Man of Steel. Sorry. Yeah, Zack Snyder, new direction following the success of Christopher Nolan's Batman's. He decided to and use his own sensibility for sort of hardcore slow motion to make Superman all dark and gritty, and found a fan base. You know, he had a really big fan base. Batman versus Superman followed, so really divisive sort of series, but Zack Snyder, very loyal fan base, right?
And a lot of us though were like, wait, wasn't Superman supposed to be fun? And this is all
colourful,
extreme.
optimistic, whereas Man of Steel was very much moody. You know, I don't want to. Why would I help these people? The humans don't even like me, and you can't. It was very cynical. Kevin Costner, his dad, you know, rather than, you know, raising a son to be the beacon of hope and for humanity, and The Best of Us was more like, don't ever tell them who you are, Clark.
Yeah.
I'll die in a tornado so you don't have to reveal who you are.
And we've reviewed
Because you can't trust humans.
We've reviewed Batman and Superman and the Justice League, haven't we? But
Yeah,
not Man of
and
Steel.
I don't
Yeah.
think those are good films, but they have a hardcore fan base, and whatever, it went through a whole thing, and now, and look, there was Justice League box office failure, a lot of behind the scenes. They couldn't ever quite get it right, and now
Yeah, and even Wonder Woman like went from being a hit to everyone losing
it was a
interest
huge
in
hit.
it.
We
as
quite
well.
liked
yeah,
that movie.
we liked Wonder
So
Woman.
and to be fair, I think I quite enjoyed Aquaman as well. I think they had some successes there.
But it flipped so quickly in the sense of, well, in a couple of years, it went from Aquaman earning over $1 billion at the box office to the second Aquaman tanking.
That came and went.
Like,
I
it's
don't
hard
even
to
remember. I
express.
think we didn't even go see it.
It's hard to express how much it fell apart. And the last one we saw in that old DC universe was The Flash, which we both quite liked, and it
And everyone hated and
bombed. Absolutely bombed.
And the other thing is, in the wider context, there is really the last 5 years, superhero films aren't the bankable box office cash cows they used to be. We're certainly, even Marvel can't do it anymore. Nothing is guaranteed. Audiences are sick of it. We want Barbie and Oppenheimer. That's what we want.
And like, there's only been kind of one big Marvel this summer which we enjoyed, which was the Thunderbirds. So I think
The Thunderbirds, yeah.
there's a real appetite for Superman now. Like, early door predictions on the box office are that it's absolutely huge.
Oh yeah.
I'm not expecting to see that necessarily in our cinema right now on the hottest day of the year.
Well, I hope
But
not.
I'm excited for it, and I really like the guy they've cast as well.
David Corenswet,
Yeah,
yeah,
he
we
looks
last
great.
saw him in Twisters in a small role, but he looks the part. And
Yeah.
I actually think in the current political climate in the world and in the US, we actually need Superman, right?
I know.
Who is a beacon of positivity and
Someone
optimism.
with morals.
Yeah, this looks from the trailers to be very colourful and
There's been some mad discourse around it where James Gunn rightfully points out that Superman's an immigrant.
yeah, love that.
And then Dean Cain came out and said, "That's woke. Superman's not an immigrant." It's like, he's a literal alien
Literally.
from another planet. To use the word immigrant is not an emotive word. It's a factual
It's a
word.
fact. He came here from another place.
So Dean Cain, yes, in the 90s I loved you, loathe you now, buddy. So we are going to go see Superman. I actually can't wait. I'm buzzing to see it. I've been really excited for this one. And we shall be back after we've watched it.
See you soon. Bye.
Recently, you've come under a lot of fire for what some
it's
might.
a lot of
It's
fire,
a
but-
lot. Today, the Secretary of Defense said he was going to look into your actions. That's funny.
My actions? I stopped a war.
Maybe.
Not maybe. I did.
In effect, you illegally entered a country.
This is how you're gonna be?
I'm not the one being interviewed, Superman. Did you consult with the president?
No.
You seemingly acting as a representative of
I
the
wasn't
United States will
representing
cause
anybody
more
except for me.
problems around the world.
And
More.
doing good.
I would question myself in the same situation and consider the consequences.
People were going to die.
Okay, hi, we're back. We've seen Superman. If this is your first time here at the Cinemile, we will not spoil Superman until we get to spoiler street. Kathy, how you feeling? Did you like that?
I'm so sick of anti-heroes. I'm so sick of reluctant heroes. I'm so sick of ambiguous heroes. And honestly, from the bottom of my heart, I absolutely love that film. It was so...
Me too.
It was so aspirational in its message.
And pure.
And this is a guy who's trying to do the right thing and not harm people. And I feel like, to get on my soapbox for a second, that is the number one point of being a human and of humanity, and it's been completely lost in culture at the moment, right?
Try and do better.
Try and do
And
better.
be the best you can.
Be the best person you
Yeah.
can be. Try and protect people who are weaker than you, right? I loved this film. I think he is the perfect casting. I knew he was good,
He was
right?
great.
I knew he was good casting. I've seen the pictures. I've seen some promos. But I found him to be a very brilliant actor. I find him to be incredibly handsome. Like, they couldn't have found a better actor. I think Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor
Oh,
was
so good.
brilliant. I really enjoy the kind of surrounding cast of everybody. There's too many people to mention. I just love the message of it. I found the story to be, albeit fictionalized, very topical.
Yes.
Very, very topical, and
The film's very political.
very politically charged.
Yeah.
But in a way that didn't feel like it was being shoved down our throat.
But it
A
is
real message about humanity again, and I found it honestly incredibly moving, and I was crying at the end, and I was also kind of fist pumping, and I was on the edge of my seat during the fight scene.
Yes.
And I've seen some movie publications giving this very bad reviews, and honestly, I'm gobsmacked. I don't understand it. Now, I haven't read any reviews yet. I've just seen headlines, so I will now read them because
neither.
I'm genuinely confused by it.
We don't like to read reviews going in. I find it can skew your...
Yeah, I don't read them, but I can't help when they like kind of pop up, you know. But
Yeah.
I just thought it was brilliant. Like, there's a couple of James Gunn-esque sequences, but overall it didn't feel like it was aping Suicide Squad or Guardians. It feels very much its own thing, and it needed to feel different because this is different, right? So yeah, anyway, huge 2 thumbs up for me. Absolutely love this film. Really recommend it. Is it a perfect film? Of course not. No film is perfect. 1 or 2 sequences I wasn't that bothered with, but it left me feeling hopeful and happy that this is a big summer blockbuster. Dave, what did you think?
Yeah, I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I was very happy. All of the things you described, I went through as well. I cried. I was leaning forwards at the edge of my seat. Often I was entertained. I found it frequently very funny. But overall, yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. This film isn't shying away from the fact that it's a little sentimental and heartfelt, but that's who Superman is supposed to be. He is an aspirational role model for the past 100 years who is supposed to be a beacon of hope and virtue, and that is something we need in the world right now. And I like that this film wears its heart on its sleeve. And we'll talk about it in spoilers, but I was surprised at how on the nose they're being about how political this movie is. Like, I can imagine in the divided political landscape, and I haven't been on the internet looked at any reactions to this, but it's gonna be a hellscape out there. It's gonna be, this movie is woke, or this movie is XYZ, but we'll talk about it in spoilers. I don't know, it appealed to my sensibility.
As pure entertainment though, you're just rooting for Superman and they're bad guys. I also think that it works on that level too.
Yes, it's just very entertaining and colourful, and I love the world that he's created. I forgot to mention in my rambling intro to people who might not know where we're at with the DC. I forgot to mention the critical thing in that they've basically drawn a line, Warner Brothers, between the previous DC connected universe, and they're starting again, if you don't already know. And James Gunn was hired as the head of, I don't know, creative. He's in charge of all creative decisions around DC. That's their films, their TV, and everything. So this is, I think there was a TV show. He did an animated TV show. Sorry, I don't remember the details. That was officially the kickoff of this universe, but this is the big first. This is their first movie out the gate.
This is the kickoff.
There's a lot riding on this for Warner Brothers, for DC, for James Gunn. I don't know. You said it's doing well. It's making
I've
money,
seen predictions.
making box office.
Obviously, this is opening weekend, but the predictions are that it's going to be huge.
Good. I think it deserves it. I thought it was wonderful. If this is the tone they're setting for this new universe, it is jam-packed. It didn't feel. I loved the tone. It felt like it was filled with comic book stuff. I don't know much about the ins and outs of the DC universe, or I didn't know half of these characters, but it felt like they were just plucking, which I think Marvel was always very good at historically, plucking really obscure characters and making them absolute standout stars.
I can't wait
we'll
to talk
about
them,
some of them. Like they're like one of them in particular. I was like, who's this guy? He's awesome.
There's something about, like, in general, where I've gotten so sick of the Marvel movies is the kind of consistent pattern of snarkiness, sarcasm, often very reluctant or anti-heroes, and I include like the recent Thunderbirds and that, albeit I actually really
keep
like.
calling it Thunderbirds.
What's it
it's
called?
Thunderbolts.
Thunderbolts. I really enjoyed that film, right? But I like to see a superhero who's, no, I'm here because I want to be good, and I'm trying to be good, and I am good. That's actually made me very happy. It's been a long time since we've seen a superhero like that. I had forgotten about when I said the last Superman thing we'd seen was Justice League. No, we watched the DC League of Super Pets, which actually is a great kids film and pairs nicely with this film because there is indeed, and I believe it's in the posters and stuff.
Oh, it's in the trailers.
Superman dog.
Crypto the dog is wonderful in this movie.
Standout.
Honestly, a standout.
And reminded me of that cartoon, which I had really enjoyed actually. I think we should go to spoilers though. I don't want to give it away. Like, we both loved it. Huge recommend. Can I say one more thing about the tagline?
Yeah, go on.
Which I'd forgotten, and then I saw it as we walked out the cinema there. The tagline is "Look up," which is cool because you look up to see Superman.
I like that.
But I also think it's like he's somebody to look up to.
Yeah, that's really nice.
And I really like that because I hate to think of people either looking up to kind of nasty characters or indeed looking up to the kind of your Tony Starks or your Batmans of the world, who are actually people who through huge amounts of money have kind of created this technological advantage for themselves, right? And it's very much actually in the Lex Luthor vein of just money, and all the trappings that come with it. And I feel like with Superman, it's just somebody in this film who's just of pure heart and mind, and we should look up to him because he's trying to be a good person. And again, I know I'm being really sentimental, but I love that, and I think it's a lovely message. It's a lovely tagline to the film.
I like that. I'm completely with you, and I want to get into it in detail in Spoiler Street. Before we go to Spoiler Street though, I'd like to do a quick shout out to all of our patrons over at patreon.com/thecinema, including some of our brand new patrons. Shout out to Gillian, to Cara Matthews, Trudy Parling, Leo, John, Grant Sawyer, Kim and Nate. Thank you all for subscribing for the cost of a coffee a month to get access to the Retro Movie Club, where you get to vote on a movie we watch every month. And Retro Movie, obviously, we get regular spoiler episodes on TV shows we're watching. We've just done Squid Game Season 3 and we're going to be chatting about Department Q, and we do regular check-ins spoiler free on all the stuff we've been watching, and you get to chat to us and each other because there's hundreds of lovely people in there.
And if you think we're sentimental, our patrons are the nicest bunch of people you've ever met.
It's a lovely corner of the internet.
Very nice space.
So come over and say hi, or you can get a free trial for 7 days. It's at patreon.com/thecinema. Now you might hear a quick ad.
USAA knows dynamic duos can save the day, like superheroes and sidekicks, or auto and home insurance. With USAA, you can bundle your auto and home and save up to 10%. Visit USAA.com/bundle.
Bundle savings are off total premium, not available in all states or in all situations. To qualify, auto policy must be active prior to property policy issue, subject to change. Restrictions apply. Membership eligibility and product restrictions apply and are subject to change. USAA means United Services Automobile Association and its affiliates, San Antonio, Texas.
Okay, we're back. Spoilers now for Superman.
I just want to say on what you just said about the 7-day free trial on Patreon, because I don't think we've mentioned that enough. You can sign up for 7 days, listen to as many episodes as you can listen to in those 7 days, and then you can go away. We will not be offended. So try it out. I do it all the time when I'm interested in other people's Patreons. And one more thing though, if you are using it on an Apple phone, go to your browser, sign up via a browser. The browser can be on your phone, just don't do it via the App Store because Apple will charge you more money. But onto this film, and there was a lot happening. There were a lot of plots. At some point I was concerned that there were maybe too many plots, like particularly when they brought out the Superman clone. I thought, oh dear God. But actually,
that was probably unnecessary.
It
was
a
fine.
Step too far.
I don't think the movie needed it, and I don't think it. I actually, on that moment, I don't think it was quite the big moment or reveal that the movie wanted it to be. I didn't really care.
He was
Did
too
you?
much of a half-wit to be a threat.
Yeah.
But I like the idea though that Lex Luthor's like, I can be the Brawn as well. Like I can control this kind of mech clone of you. Like it's an interesting idea, and it explains then how Lex Luthor got into the Ice Palace at the beginning. But on the Ice Palace from the beginning, I was very confused. Is this Superman lore?
Yeah, it's his Fortress of Solitude. It's in almost every movie. It was in the old one. Marlon Brando is up there, and yeah, he always has a Fortress of Solitude.
I don't remember that at all.
Yeah.
So I was a bit thrown by that. What do you think of his relationship with Lois Lane?
I thought it was lovely. I really enjoyed both of them. I thought very endearing. Felt like I like it's the early stages of a relationship. They're only 3 months into it. It felt very kind of raw. They're figuring each other out. I like that the climax of that was them telling each other they love each other.
I love that.
It's simple.
We're such saps though, but also I love that, and correct me if I'm wrong because I don't like fully remember all the other iterations, but I feel like we haven't jumped into it before where two things are true, where A, they're already together, and B, she already knows he's Clark Kent. That we skipped a lot there, which I'm glad about.
Yeah, but the movie skips a lot with everything. It literally just had a title card which explained everything, and I was honestly a little nervous because there was a whole lot of information in there. Fake countries. He's been so it's like and all this stuff, like, it was all the stuff we know already about Superman, and then there was all and then 3 weeks ago this happened, and then 3 days ago this happened, and then 3 hours, and I was like, okay.
I liked that. I found it very stylish, very easy to absorb, and I like that we just kind of finished when it cut to the 3 minutes ago thing. I thought, oh right, okay, this is fun now, what they're doing with the numbers, and then he kind of lands on the ice.
But to your point, they've cut out all the origin stuff.
Yeah.
They've cut out, like, which I like. I mean, they did this with the Spider-Man reboot, Homecoming, with Tom Holland.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was the first time we got a kind of a reboot where we were like, you guys know who this is.
Yeah.
Let's cut it all. Let's just get into it. And I think this movie does that very effectively. It does the same with Clark and Lois.
Mm-hmm.
So it felt very confident, and it felt like good choices.
Yeah, I agree.
What I liked about this, let's talk about the politics of it. So
Mm-hmm.
the movie is, like, I think very clearly saying the bad guy is a billionaire who is using social media and technology and money to manipulate the masses and lie to people because he wants to be king. Does that remind you of anyone?
Yes, it does. And he's funding violent armies, and
he's
is a
incredibly
traitor.
insecure.
Is a traitor to his own country, is funding international wars. I found all that stuff fascinating.
This movie felt like that conflict with two completely made up countries felt like they had mashed Russia and Ukraine and Israel and Palestine together, right?
I agree.
Like, that guy's clearly a Putin analog, and then this, this
actually
superior armed forces crushing these people.
He looks like Netanyahu. They've actually cast a man who looks like him.
Yeah.
How that slipped through any casting radar, I don't know.
Honestly,
I admire them for it.
In a very Hollywood, despite the fact that Trump and a lot of conservative America find it to be what they would describe as a sort of a liberal, woke, lefty communist factory or whatever nonsense they would say. It's usually pretty sanitized, the products. Hollywood and Disney and all of them, they don't take risks. They don't say anything political. They pretend to be very pro LGBTQ or pro anything, but then they'll take out anything that's any bit controversial so they can play it in China. Like, I don't trust. Whereas this movie, I think felt like it was pretty much saying, look, it was picking a lane, I thought, as much as a big blockbuster can.
They use the word traitor to describe Lex Luthor, and I think it's very clear that there are traitors at work in the American government who are deliberately supporting countries that are against the American good. And I find it brilliant that
out for their own personal interest.
Exactly. And money trumps everything, and in this film it's like, well, Lex Luthor's rich and he's smart, so therefore why shouldn't he rule the world? And Superman's, no, but you shouldn't. And I just really enjoyed that, and his absolute utter hatred of Superman for being an alien, and how Superman turns that around at the end, I absolutely loved as well.
Yeah, Superman says, I'm one of you.
Yeah.
Like, I thought, I loved his speech at the end.
Yeah,
he says, I'm human, I make mistakes, I'm trying.
Is he the best Superman ever? Is he the best Superman I've ever seen? Because I think he is. I cannot remember one.
I thought he was incredibly endearing. He was, as he says in that speech, and that I found him very human and vulnerable. I was really interested by him and his decisions. Like, the whole argument he has when Lois does the interview with him, which I thought was great character beats, but is also telling us a lot about him as a person. He's also quite. I liked how quick he was to temper, but not in a sort of a Henry Cavill, I'm going to snap Zod's neck now.
Yeah.
Which still haunts me.
Yeah.
And this film felt like it was in dialogue with the past 20 years as well. Like, you said it to me, you whispered to me, like, like, oh, they're evacuating the city, you know, because the film, like Man of Steel, was criticized heavily for the amount of civilian destruction
and, like,
which Superman himself
they hit
wrought.
that so hard on the nail here that they actually had him rescuing a squirrel. They were like, not even a tiny woodland creature will be injured in this film.
I thought that was great.
And they needed to do that because there's this other piece in here which I found fascinating. We've all these people behind screens, like controlling, essentially like people controlling drones in war.
Yeah. It addresses like social media bots and
so
bullshit, like literally like monkeys writing
But it
hatred.
shows that, like, I think it's actually demonstrating how callous people have become in war, because they actually are
They're
very
cheering.
often behind screens now, where they can hide behind drones and mechanics, where in the past it was humans who had to kill humans. And I think they captured that very well, where it's almost like a video game, and like all this is going on, but like it's not at the foreground, you know. Like I really do think like a 12-year-old could just go in and enjoy this film. So there's a lot going on here, and like James Gunn is an intelligent filmmaker, but I do think this is on the more intelligent side of the stuff he's done, but it does have the heart of the Guardians of Galaxy. I was a bit confused by John Cena showing up, because I thought we were done with that world, so I got a bit thrown by that.
No, we are, but see, basically, so James Gunn and DC and Warner's, they've drawn a clean slate, but but James Gunn clearly was like, I love Peacemaker, and I'm not letting him go, because he makes that brilliant TV series, and apparently season 2 is going to address how he has slipped into a different universe. I think they're going to do something like that.
That's a bit thin.
Yeah,
I
because
Gunn,
Rick Flag is in this, who we've seen played by Joel, what's his name?
Kinnaman?
Joel Kinnaman, yeah. So that character is in this, played by Frank Grillo. So it's a different take on the same character.
I do think, James Gunn, if you're going to say it's a clean slate, buddy, as much as I like John Cena, make it a clean slate, it threw me off as I watched it.
But it was a tiny little Easter egg,
there's no need
right?
for it, like. We don't need Easter eggs. We got everyone else's news.
I will say, I think you're right in that it is already confusing if you're already following this stuff to the average audience who they're trying to indicate new Superman, new universe, new everything. It is confusing to then be like, but also this guy's here playing the same character.
It's like the language of the movie is telling me it's all different because you don't have Amy Adams here. Like, I think you can swap him in for Henry Cavill quite easily. They look very alike. But like Lois Lane, like I was very attached to Amy Adams as Lois Lane. This felt very different. So yeah, they're doing things to signify to us. My favourite thing in the whole film is that, like, I think it was so clever how Lex Luthor found the full message from his parents.
Oh, that was
and his
very
parents were
good.
bad.
Yeah.
And then the notion that his adopted dad says to him, which is, you know, your parents just give you the tools, but they don't tell you who you are, and you're responsible for your own choices, which again is something I feel like is missing in popular discourse of, like, you, no matter what happens to you, or no matter how much money you do or don't have, you are still responsible for your own actions, and you cannot blame other people for how you act. And the end was when I started bawling, crying.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Was when Four says he likes to watch, you know, videos of his parents to relax him, and then it was his adopted parents, and I was just at that point I was bawling, crying.
That's beautiful.
It was so beautiful.
But the other bit that got me was that scene with Pa Kent when he's sitting outside.
Pa Kent.
And he's just the love, like the wife kind of makes fun of him for being mushy, but the love and the concern and the outpouring, I really felt, and I thought the casting of his parents was excellent. They felt very
so
normal and ground to earth, as opposed to sort of previous incarnations, which are just like movie stars.
Yeah, I felt
where you were like, they felt like actual like everyday people.
I feel like they've taken these two from like a very good local theatre group or something.
Yeah, no, they're quite well regarded. I recognise that.
I recognise the mom, but not the dad.
I recognise the dad. He's been around for years. Oh, I don't know his name. Sorry, you caught me on the hop.
But he's obviously just a very good character.
No, yeah, they didn't cast unknowns, but I'm saying they cast people who represent ordinary,
decent
people in the sort of, and I like that they gave them proper rural Southern American accents, right?
It's not just Kevin Costner.
Exactly. It was just like they were proper like farmer sort of accents.
And then when he calls, he's like, "Oh, that girl Annie Jane seems nice," or whatever. About Lois Lane.
I loved it, and Crypto the dog was honestly had a lot of the best gags. I'm unsure about one thing that didn't work for me was what's her name from House of the Dragon. Coming in as Supergirl. I don't think that landed. I think they were trying to take some big swings there. She's this rebellious teenager who she's drunk off some Red Suns, but I don't think any of it worked.
I didn't mind it, but I think it was one of the weaker. That and the clone.
Yeah,
I
wasn't bothered by the clone.
I had seen she was Supergirl, and we've just watched Sirens and really enjoyed it, and talked about it over on Patreon. But I didn't love it, I have to say. What I really loved though was and I always have loved this about the Superman world, is the Daily Planet like journalist pieces.
Yeah, another thing with a real world analog where I like that the hero of this movie is not Superman didn't defeat Lex Luthor, the journalists did.
Yeah, I like that too.
And journalism,
truth and knowledge,
is under threat in
Yeah.
with democracy, and journalism is a cornerstone of democracy.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that this movie acknowledged that and made the journalists the heroes. What I also really loved was that the journalists and a lot of the world are so unfazed by this crazy world they live in, where
They're so used
there's
to it.
literally like monsters roaming the streets and there's superheroes fighting them every 10 minutes. So literally there's a lot of really great use of that concept, where you had the sort of, I don't know who, the blonde one with the glasses who works at the Daily Planet talking to Lois Lane about her love life, and they're just holding a conversation while behind them there's a giant
backdrop.
on the news. It's like,
no, she's actually complaining that someone spent $1,000 on tickets to a concert, which is like basically a Taylor Swift concert that people spend money on. I liked how
that's happening while that, and then the scene which was beautiful. A lot of this movie looks beautiful. There's some lovely
gorgeous
stills.
looking, yeah.
The one where there's Superman is exhausted and he comes in to have a coffee with Lois and he's feeling really low. A really beautiful scene.
No, it's
and
a Coco.
A Coco, of course it is, because he's so lame. I like that he thinks he's punk rock,
yeah.
and she's like, you are not punk rock. Like, she's taking the piss out of him, which I loved. But there's this she's like, shouldn't you be out? They're fighting that thing, and he's like, oh, it's just some interdimensional bug. Like, it's that they can handle it.
Oh yeah, that's nothing.
And
no
it's
one
so
even
colourful, but it's so beautiful. It made this
Yeah.
lovely. It's very, very. What an interesting way to have frame a very romantic and tender and human
I
scene.
love it, and and that he kind of works in sync with that team. And I think the coolest part of this film for me was the pocket universe stuff.
Oh, it's very cool.
The portals, and there were so many plots in here, and James Gunn, I do think, is very masterful, writing and directing, that he keeps all these strands together. But the pocket world stuff, I'm sorry, the little baby in the pocket world. I have just finished Squid Game season 3. I cannot handle any more CGI AI babies in peril. That entire sequence, the fact that somebody can make kryptonite because he can mimic any item from any planet ever, and his baby's being held under threat, and the guy comes in,
what I love,
so good.
What I love is that this movie established what a genius Lex Luthor is. He really is. From the off,
he's done a lot.
He's like, from the off, we're like, he goes back to the fight, and and he's, I don't know, do you remember, it's this big flying creature, or this captain of whatever it was. You within 5 minutes you realize Lex Luthor is here giving commands to B 17C. I loved all that.
Was cool.
So you know straight away he's been studying Superman for 3 years. He knows all his moves. He's got a whole team of people behind him, all these resources, and then you learn more and more. He's got a pocket universe filled with people. He's manipulating geopolitical events. I think the movie did a great job of establishing how dangerous and scary a villain that is.
He's a lot smarter than, I will say, the real world billionaires we see hanging around right now.
And it makes him, I thought, because often the weaker Superman stories will Lex Luthor, you're like, why is Lex Luthor a threat to Superman? Because he's just a guy. But I think this movie,
he has kryptonite, and it's like, no, this Lex Luthor's so cool, he doesn't even need kryptonite.
I like how they addressed, we're going to take kryptonite out of the picture, but there's one guy who can produce it, like you were just saying. What a great character, Rex. I don't know who that guy is. He's obviously from the comics.
And he's obviously joining, finally, the last thing I want to talk about is, what are they called?
Justice Gang,
or the Justice Squad, or whatever
Nathan
they're called.
Fillion was wonderful.
Oh, was that him?
Yeah.
Because I was like, I know this actor, but the hair and it completely threw me off. I didn't place him.
Oh, but Dev from For All Mankind.
For All Mankind.
As well, he was literally terrific. I loved him. He was so good.
I loved when he teamed up with Lois Lane and they rescued Superman. I loved all that stuff.
And your one from Lilo and Stitch, who we just saw, was great as Hawkgirl. Didn't get a whole lot to do, but I liked her.
Great summer for her. Well, she got to kill the bad guy, though. So
That's true.
I love when he goes, oh yeah, because Superman won't kill anyone. He's like, you're weak like Superman. She's like, no, I'm not. Bye.
Yeah, bye.
She just drops him.
She just killed him.
Yeah, I really
It's
enjoy
pretty
that.
dark.
Is there anything else you want to talk about? There's so much. I need to ruminate. I loved it.
I mean, it was jam packed. It was really, it was a busy film, but as I said, it's like it didn't. I was a bit worried that I don't know, there's too much in here. But it's amazing where we came from. Like I remember Spider-Man 3 coming out in, what was that? 2007, maybe 2006, and there was like 3 villains in that, and it was a bad movie, and we all went, oh, that was too crowded. It had 3 villains, and then 10 years later we had Avengers Infinity War and Endgame, and we all went, oh, there's no way they can have 40 characters.
I know,
and they were 2 brilliant movies, and I'm like, and this movie is a bit like that as well. I'm like, I kind of, as you said, am so impressed that James Gunn wrote and directed this while also like spearheading a brand new entire direction for an entire company with billions of dollars behind it.
Yeah, but this is the Superman though. It's their biggest product.
No, but it
So
feels like
all his resources would have been going into this film.
yes, I agree, but he's also he's the head of the studio now as well, so he's got to do all that creatively.
I feel like he came in and was like vaguely involved in the Flash. At the end, he had his fingers in the Flash a little bit, and he was kind of out trying to defend it when everyone was shitting.
Yeah,
on it.
he came out and said the Flash. Maybe he did. I don't know.
But look, you're asking the wrong people if you want to criticize the Flash, because this podcast gave it
Why?
away.
Let's not talk about the Flash. What I like.
We got complaints on our podcast reviews about our review of the Flash.
Yeah, people really hated the Flash, but we love it,
We
and
loved
we
it.
stand by that position.
Yeah.
And it also had horrible CGI babies.
I didn't love it as much as this.
Maybe
though.
that's the key to getting to us to launch things. It's like
this is
creepy CGI babies in peril. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very
More
much.
of that.
Anyway, if you enjoy this review, the number one thing we ask is if you would please rate and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. So that's typically Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or Pocket Casts, or wherever else you listen. If you leave a 5-star review, and if you also could write something, because actually it really helps if you write something and don't just review it.
Because we get to read it.
Yeah, well, we get to read it, but it also just really helps with boring things like algorithms.
Oh, does it?
And we can't just have bad guys and monkeys controlling the algorithms, you know? Our listeners can help us
Fight
with
the
it.
monkeys, everyone.
Exactly.
Leave us a review that says we're fighting the monkeys.
Yeah, do please.
And we'll know.
And thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening. Bye.
You have a dog?
Paradise is back
It's finally here.
in a new location, Costa Rica. There will be adventure, drama, and romance,
All gas, no brakes. That's my vibe.
Ready to find some love.
but it wouldn't be paradise without surprises along the way.
These kids need to learn.
That's right, your favorite Golden alums are crashing the beach.
We bring in a party, baby.
Bachelor in Paradise. New Mondays at 8/7 Central on ABC and stream on Hulu.